June 3rd, 1948, the Pine County Gazelle published a story that, at the time, seemed insignificant. The headline read, "Residents Abandoned Blackwood." Most readers likely skimmed past it. Struggling mining town losing residents wasn't exactly unusual in the American West. Towns died all the time. But Blackwood was different because after the following months, something strange happened. The town didn't simply decline, it vanished. Not just from the landscape, from the records, from the maps, and eventually from history itself. At least, that's the story. For decades, Blackwood was believed to have been a small settlement located approximately 15 miles west of Pine County. According to surviving newspaper records, the town was founded sometime in the late 19th century during a brief silver rush. The population was never large, a few hundred residents at most. A church, a schoolhouse, a general store, and a handful of homes spread along a dirt road running through the valley. Nothing remarkable, nothing famous. Just another forgotten American town. Or so it seemed. The earliest references to Blackwood appear in local newspapers from the 1930s. Baseball scores, church announcements, school fundraisers, ordinary things. The kind of details that nobody would bother to fake. And that's what makes this story so strange. A brief history, at least what we know, a lot of documentation disappeared, is the town was served by a group of miners and their wives in the early 1920s. Most prominent was future Blackwood mayor Henry Calloway. Him and his wife, her name isn't known, built the first house. In the late 1920s, Cinder Ridge Mine opened, starting a boom in the community. Around the 1930s, the town was buzzing with more than 200 plus people, most of them miners or rail yard workers. Based on surviving employment logs and newspaper fragments, Blackwood functioned like many small mining towns of the era. The mine provided the majority of jobs, while surrounding businesses supported daily life. Children attended a single-room schoolhouse located near the center of town. Church services were held weekly, often doubling as community meetings. And according to several reports, Major Henry Calloway was known for personally mediating disputes between miners and landowners. For a time, Blackwood appeared stable, even self-sustaining. The town was believed to have declined because of the mine drying up. After all, silver isn't infinite. But when researchers began looking deeper into Blackwood's history, they discovered something impossible. None of those records agreed with one another. They were inconsistent on a census number and even the location of the town. One article lists Blackwood's population as 312. Another claims less than 100 residents. Some place the town west of Pine County, others place it to the south. A retired rail worker said, "We stopped being sure of where it would be. It always changed." Even photographs allegedly showing Blackwood appear to depict completely different locations. At first, these inconsistencies were dismissed as clerical errors, but then came the maps. Maps made things worse. A country survey from 1946 appears to show Blackwood clearly marked near Willow Creek. Yet a state transportation map printed the same year contains no mention of the town whatsoever. By the mid-1940s, Blackwood existed differently depending on the agency documenting it. County maps still showed the town clearly marked near Willow Creek. State transportation records removed it entirely. And federal mining surveys listed the area as an incomplete geological mapping zone. No single system matched another, and yet none of them were officially corrected. How does an entire town disappear from official maps while still appearing in local newspapers? That question will only become more difficult to answer after June 1948, because after the publication of the Gazelle article, references to Blackwood became increasingly rare. Businesses closed, mail service stopped, school records ceased entirely, and then nothing. No closure announcement, no evacuation order, no natural disasters, no official explanation, just silence. For years, the disappearance of Blackwood remained a local curiosity, a small mystery discussed occasionally by historians and amateur researchers. Then, in 1987, a man named Daniel Mercer attempted to locate the town. What he found would reignite interest in the case and create a mystery that continues to this day. Daniel Mercer was a prospector who was told to go to where a town used to be, that town being Blackwood. He worked independently and expected to verify the mine and move on. This, however, was not the case. He found a singular newspaper that told him to go west, so he did. It wasn't there. He searched other newspapers, any he could find, and to no one's surprise, they were wrong too. But after a few days of searching, he found a collapsed mine and a few traces of human use on the land around it. So, he marked it down, and in the next month, the company Bitterroot Mineral and Survey excavated the land. They were a regional contracting company who evaluated mines. All they found was that mine. No evidence was found towards any buried houses, buildings, not even the highlight of the town being the school. But this is where the story gets even stranger. A few months had passed, and when the company returned, the mine was gone. The land surface showed no evidence of prior excavation. The original survey markers were no longer present, and official county records now listed the parcel as privately owned land under restricted designation. No sale record was found. No transfer documentation existed in public archives. The land looked like it was never touched. They no longer were legally allowed on it, and the owner was never identified. In a log by an employee, it is like the site has been restored from long before humans. Not even a month later, Bitterroot went bankrupt. No announcement or anything. One day they were working, the next day the company disappeared. Similar to someone else involved, Daniel Mercer. Daniel Mercer randomly disappeared. His death isn't confirmed. His friends and family simply just think he ran off. Following the Bitterroot report, Mercer's findings were officially dismissed as inconclusive. Daniel was, after all, clowned on after his career went down. He was no longer respected, forever known as the man who tried to unearth a mystery but bankrupt an entire company in the process. Now, a lot of mystery surrounds this town, and there are a lot of theories on the disappearance. Some believe the government was hiding something there, a mining disaster occurred, disease, famine, or simply the town never existed. And after decades of research, conflicting records, and failed verification attempts, one conclusion began appearing more than any other. The town never existed. Blackwoods, Mercer, Bitterroot, and Henry Conaway are all fictional. All of this was fictional. Even the newspaper was all made up by me. Not all YouTube videos are true, especially historical videos. They tend to lie. This is in no way a PSA, but instead a funny idea I had. Be careful out there, but what do I know anyway? Thanks for watching.